Losers are down, leaders are different. And you have to learn to adapt to the people you're communicating with. Now, I'm going to go way back in time here, probably judging by the age of the audience here, you're not going to remember this TV show. But when I was growing up, there was a television show in the middle 1960s called Bewitched. On this show was Samantha Stevens. Elizabeth Montgomery was a witch, and she was married to a mortal man, Darren. And Darren worked for an advertising agency. He had a boss named Larry Tate. And any kid that grew up in the 60s watched the show knows who Larry Tate is. Larry was the most chameleon person you've ever seen, and comic at the same time. No matter what the client wanted, Larry would immediately adapt to that. You know, he'd say, well, sir, this is the best program in the world. The guy would say, it's terrible. Say, yes, Darren, it's terrible. Why'd you do that to me? Just flip-flop automatically. I don't mean you should adapt that way. That's an exaggeration of this. They did that for the comedy on the TV show. But you need to learn how your customers buy, what style they communicate in, what language they speak as a personality. And if you can get on their level and speak their language, remember what I said earlier about perceptions. We like people who are like us that we don't have to adapt to that much. Your customers are the same way. They like someone they don't have to adapt. In other words, it's hard enough to buy and spend the money. It's even harder to buy from somebody that you can't speak their language or communicate with. The way you perceive other people is all about how you judge them. And most of us like people who are like us. I like people who respond the way I do. I adapt to them very easily. I don't have to adapt. I'm already like them. The people that we don't get along with are the people we have to adapt to the most. Now, here's a funny thing to think about when you're talking to your other workers today. In every group of 4 or more people, there's someone who is the most difficult to get along with. If you don't know who it is in your group, it's probably you. Because everybody else is scared to adapt to you. In every group, there's someone very difficult to get along with because they don't want to have to adapt to them. Our perception of people is once we perceive someone who's like us, we like to work with them because it's less work to do anything around them. We're just like them. The power broker has to have it done their way. The populist, sanguine, likes to have it done the fun way. The peacemaker, the phlegmatic, they want it done the easy way. Easy peasy. It's very simple. Just simple process. Nothing technical. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just get easy. And then the perfectionist, the melancholic. They like it done the right way, according to the rules. Show them the rules, show them the details, show them the right way to do it, and they love it. A modern day example I can give you is go into your office tomorrow, walk up to your boss and say, my arm hurts. I don't think I can go back to work today. If the boss says to you, if the boss is a power broker, they'll say, is it bleeding? And you'll say, no. They say, well, then get back to work. If they're a peacemaker, and you say, my arm's hurt, I don't think I can work, they'll say, oh, tell me about it. Sit down here. Sit in my office for a while. I've got all the time in the world. Nothing's more important than your health. Tell me about that. How bad does it hurt? Oh, that's awful. Tell me more. If they're a perfectionist, and you walk in and say, my arm's hurt, I don't think I can work today, they'll say, oh, where does it hurt? Tell me. I've got several medical journals, and I can go on Wikipedia right now, and I can Google the whole thing, and I can find out from WebMD what are your symptoms right now? Have you got a fever? What is the fever right now? That's my wife. My wife, when somebody's hurt, she's on WebMD before you can even lay down in bed. If they're a populist, you go up and you say, my arm's hurt, I don't think I can work today. They'll say, your arm hurts? Let me tell you about my arm. Last week I was on a ladder at my cousin's house. You know the cousin that's got the daughter that can't get married. They live over in San Antonio. Well, I was at their house the other day up on a ladder, and I fell. And I've never fallen off a ladder that high. It was a red ladder, by the way. It was a nice day. Let me tell you about the day. Then on and on and on. And you're like, I thought I was talking about my arm today. Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. I don't care if you're the East or the West Coast. I don't care where you are, WIIFM is your favorite. What's in it for me? WIIFM. Every client wants to know what's in it for them. You want to know what's in it for you. You're listening to this today, say, what's in it for me? I believe everyone is a tenant doing something. Everyone is a tenant doing something. I'm a tenant doing something. I found out I'm not a tenant doing the money part of the business. I'm not a tenant doing the follow-up with the clients. I'm not a tenant booking the airline flights or the rental cars or the hotel rooms. My wife is a tenant that. I not only gave that job to her, I gave her the authority to do it without having to ask my permission to do it for me. All the prospects you're talking to, all your clients are a 10 at something. Find out what they're a 10 at be a 10 at doing that. And everyone in your station, on your sales force, is a 10 at doing something. Let them shine for doing that. But I believe everybody needs to adapt to their clients and customers, or they won't have any anymore. So right now, take a moment, write down your dinosaur. What are you holding on? What are you doing listen, your dinosaur is something that's dead, it's extinct. You just never had the guts to bury the thing and hold a funeral service. Write down right now one idea you're going to take away today. What are you going to take away from this that you're going to act on immediately? I mean, the minute you quit watching today, in another 2 minutes, what are you going to think, do differently? What action will you take? Here's what I want you to leave here with today. I want you to have an action plan. I want you to have a plan that you're going to do to adapt to others. What are you going to do? Go back to each of those names you wrote down. The power broker, the populist, the peacemaker, the perfectionist. Write down something you're going to do different with them that's going to reach them more effectively than you were before you walked in here today. I hope you go out there and shake things up, and I hope I've made you so uncomfortable you want to change something about the way you sell. Thank you so much for tuning in today.